Morning, everybody. Douglas Truth here. It's crazy out there, isn't it? Isn't it just nuts out there? I got all kinds of advice. There's plenty of advice all over the place, but I want to say first of all, that I would never advise you, or even think of advising anyone, like not to feel afraid, not to feel fear. You shouldn't feel afraid because life is beautiful. We've got everything to appreciate and be grateful for, in the face of everything bad that's happening. And, dream on. I'm not afraid to die. But basically I'm afraid of everything else, right? I'm afraid of saying hello to people in the store. I'm afraid of running out of coffee. I'm afraid of the fear. That's the crux of it right there. I'm afraid of the fear. Not just my fear, although that's my overarching fear is my fear. But everyone's fear, like when we all start to go crazy with fear, what happens then? Well, we know what happens then. It's awful. But the thing is, I think, there's a lot of positive talk. And that's a good thing going on about how to respond to the nuttiness around us. But I think, the idea that we shouldn't feel afraid is not a very good one, because the thing is that it's almost impossible, when things are going so out of whack. And when we, if you weren't aware of this earlier, that we're in the hands of madmen. We used to have a functioning state, but in terms of a public health service, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, we don't have it. It's gone. It's them. So it's gone, right? So c'est la vie. Cosas de la vida. But so that's where we are. We're in a messed up, mixed up world. And so I'm trying not to let you know that I forgot where I was. But it was about fear. And not being afraid to feel fear. Not being afraid to feel anything what you're feeling. So I guess I'll just try to back up and figure out where, like put the car in reverse and back up. It's like, okay, now I remember where I was. Trying not to feel fear is ill-advised. Trying not to feel anything that you actually feel is ill-advised. So I'm going to paint, and I feel bad in a certain way that somehow I lucked into being here. I came down here because it was affordable, and I heard, okay, you might do really well there. Thank you, Roy, for saying that. He said you'll thrive there. Boy, is he right. And I had no idea that I would be in an ideal position so far for the pool that is going down now. So I feel bad if you're in a place that's not so much fun right now for being here. Kind of like I wish I could share it with you in a way. So maybe I'll share this with you if that helps. If it doesn't make you feel worse. So I'm going to paint. Right? I haven't done any painting since the other painting that I did where I revealed just how incredibly rusty I am. It's like sometimes when I paint and when I'm rusty or when it's worse is when I try to copy. Sometimes a painting turns out really, really good, right? But I'm not being self-effacing here. It's not me. When it turns out really, really good, it's just because my mind was somewhere else, right? When I painted it, it's like, boom, it came out great. What really is humbling and even humiliating is when I then try to copy that painting or do something like it because everybody likes it, right? And I'd love to do more of those because people like them and then they'll buy them, and I can buy some more coffee. And that's just, it's the worst. It's like some brain-damaged person like me trying to copy somebody's good work. And it's just like, oh, like that. I don't know if you remember, but several years ago on the internet there was a painting of a monk in some Spanish church, I think, and somebody tried to fix it, right? and they revealed that they had no idea what the human face looks like, and it just turned all wonky. It's like that's what I feel like when I try to copy one of my own good paintings. So there you have it. So I'm gonna sketch. I got this square. This I bought at a. You may have seen the actual footage of me gessoing this last time. I bought this in a thrift store for 10 pesos or something, and I gessoed over it. Like the previous person's work. Sorry, right? It's mine now. So anyway, this is my plywood now. Look at this easel. I had a local carpenter make this for me. It just leans up against the wall. It's just like two 2x2s. And a piece of plywood, and I put some screws on here to hang the paintings from. It's fantastic. As Eddie Izzard would say, it's fantastic. And it's a fantastic day. I mean, it's sunny, it's cool, it's breezy, the lake is down there, the plants are growing. I just put some new arugula in the pot, and some, like my landlady here, we both have this thing about, we plant things, and it's like squirrels with nuts. They don't know where they put them or anything. It's like, I know I planted something in there, but I have no idea what. Something will come out of the ground, and then maybe I'll figure it out later. All right, so I'm gonna see. I'm putting things off, right? Make sure things are still working here. Now, putting things off. I don't want to actually reveal how rusty I am when it comes to putting an image here. What am I gonna do, right? I haven't even thought about it. So, but there are some beautiful, beautiful buildings here. I'm gonna take a blue pencil to contrast so I can see it easier. Now, I lost my glasses, my reading glasses yesterday. I bought these. These are 41.5 pesos, which is not very much, and they're just terrible. They're painful, and I can barely see anything, but we have to make do, right? This is my burden, which compared to yours is probably very, very light, and I apologize for that. I do wish I could share it. I say that now, but if it happened, maybe I'd go, oh, shoot, things were so nice until I offered to share your pain. We never know. Now look, see, that changed everything. Did you know that, I was going to say Koyaanisqatsi, but that's not the name of the painter, from the 20s and 30s, that begins with a K, and he always said, I don't like paintings where you have to hang them in a certain way to appreciate them. It's like his paintings, turn it any way you want. It looks great. So I'm just gonna do something, right? Draw a few lines. So there's a building. There's a building, and then here's another one over here. And we're getting some perspective, even though it may not be quite correct. Oh yeah, now see, it's starting to appear now. We got a road that goes into the distance, and the perspective is very, very sharp here because we're just a little away from the wall, and everything disappears into infinity really quickly. I don't know if I like the sound of that or not. Just disappears into infinity really quickly. Because that, I don't have much experience with death except that time that I almost did. But when they give you the gas and say count back from 100, you go 199, and then you're gone. Like that's disappearing into infinity in a kind of a way. Maybe. See, have you ever done that? Where you get the anesthesiologist and they go count back from 100, and you go okay, and then you're just gone, right? How does that stuff work so fast? Apparently, it is a real mystery. Even to those who use this stuff, it's like, you don't know how it works. No idea. There's so many issues like that, like gravity and all kinds of things. So our science is so effective at making certain things. Now I'm going to put a tall building in here. I don't care. It doesn't work. But, I'm lawless. It doesn't, sue me. I'm doing what I want. It's my world. So this is a big stucco building. Everything here, where I'm in Mexico, is built with bricks. There's some steel. There's some concrete and rebar now and then. Not excessively so. Thick walls. You walk by these things, and they can look really crusty and kind of nasty from the outside, and then somebody leaves the door open, and it's like, oh, it's heaven in there. They've got it going. They really have it going. As opposed to in the northern hemisphere, where we've got you know, a house with windows in it and a big yard, which takes a tremendous amount of money and water and fertilizer to maintain. And yet the only enjoyment we get out of it is like pulling up in the driveway when you get home or looking out the window and it's like this lawn, right? They've got it going here, so you know, it's like the wall to the outside, and then you go inside and there's a courtyard and there's plants and a cat and a dog just wandering around peaceful. It's awesome. I don't know what's happening here at all. But isn't that always the case? As William Goldman, he was the writer who wrote the Lord of the Fly, I think. He was famous for writing a little note, famous in my mind at least, for writing a little note to Philip K. Dick, in which he indicated that he thought Philip K. Dick was a real writer. That was like Philip K. Dick's most prized possession, to be thought of as a real writer by a real writer. So William Goldman famously said, in connection with the idea of that the big moguls in Hollywood know what's gonna make, you know, there's not gonna be windows here, right? There's just gonna be a blank wall, but well, I'm making a blank wall. The heck with you guys and your expectations. I can paint anything on there I want. So William Goldman famously, you know, somebody asked or made the assumption somehow that the moguls knew what would make a good movie. You know, it's like the right star, the right script, whatever like that. And he said, no one knows anything. No one knows anything. And I think that's easily generalized to just apply to everything. Hardly anything has got the straight lines, even the straight lines that I've got here, right? But I'm going to interrupt myself here. So a lot of what's happening here, the cool stuff that happens is on the roof. They put up a few posts and they put a roof up there, and then it's just like potted plants and the cat sitting up there. I'm gonna, you know, because I want to get some painting going, right? All right, fine. So I saw a house the other day. There's this beautiful, beautiful pinkish color. And I saw today, my sister posted on Facebook, a female mariachi band. Ooh la la, the outfits. I mean, male mariachi bands are, you know, great enough. Really maravilloso when it comes to the outfits. But these pink outfits that these gals had, it's like, I don't know if you guys know this, but in my own mind, I'm a kind of an honorary gal. It's complicated, to be quite frank with you. It's extremely complicated, and I feel lucky to have survived at all. But that's another story for another day. If you want to hear the rest of it, join my $50 tier. So I'm going to put up, my friend Lila said, why don't you do a $50 tier, and then people can, in exchange for that, they get a painting. You know, they send you photos, like Lila can send me photos of her house or whatever she wants, and I'll paint it. I think it's a terrific idea. I'm going to do it. But I've been too busy on Facebook and Twitter to get any fucking thing done at all. Sorry about that. Both using that word and also not, you know, like being so absorbed in the news. It's sick. It's sick. It's no good, people. There's a snail here. Just look at this. You see that? There's a snail on... It's just minding its own business, right? It's alright. I'm going to see if the snail's ever heard the joke about the snail. You know, it's like if the snail was, you know, if this was a joke, I'd pick up the snail and throw it. And then 3 years later, hopefully, you know, everything goes right. I'm still here painting. And the snail comes back and says, what was that all about? It's a joke that the first time I told it, my timing was perfect. Because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, right? And now I think I'm some kind of jokester. And it's really hard to get it right. That sound sounds like Maxie or Blackie. Those guys. They bark all the time. Maybe my I don't think so. She just called. She went on a trip to buy things. Why we still can't. Before there's total lockdown. You know, things can get really bad. Like I said, don't be afraid to feel terrified. Just don't let it freeze you. Or maybe it has to freeze you. The thing is, it just is whatever it is, you know? And 'twas ever thus. You know, we humans, we've been freaking out and dying for so long that we ought to be good at it by now. But apparently each generation has to learn it on their own. I'm putting some blue on here because I got to mix up the colors. It's all too red here. And it's like monochrome. And if there's one thing I hate, it's monochrome. So even put some green in here because that'll be nasty. Just like the real world. Like, you know what I mean. It's not that all the real world is nasty. It's just that it's got a fair bit of nastiness to it. By nastiness, I mean all kinds of things. I mean terrible crimes as well as in opposite colors. Colors that were just maybe not the best choice ever. So, I hope you're relaxing. I'm going to just, speaking of relaxing, I better go get my coffee. Where is it? This is my second cup, so it's almost gone, which is not a good thing. Alright, fine. So, I'm painting. This is what everybody's been clamoring for. Not really, but it's fun to pretend that it's the case. So white and green. Can you see all this? The team. I got the team together. You know, I got the whole video team here in the studio. They bark a lot. Can't get them to stop doing that. You know, they're my favorites. If you're ever freaking out, and you have these 6 dogs, you know, they got 2 couches, 3 chairs, and they just, you know, nothing upsets them at all except maybe the sound of a horse on the other side of the wall, and that drives them absolutely out of their minds, right? But then a few minutes later they forget about it and they start biting each other again, you know, playfully. I just saw something on the internet this morning about how these dogs have really sophisticated cues so that they can fight. They can play fight, but they have cues, like I guess safe words or something, where they can say, no, don't do that anymore, it hurts, you know, and these guys are masters at it. They just go at it. If you didn't know better, you think these dogs are trying to kill each other. But no, it's all love. So maybe, you know, I'm a big fan of generalizing shit, whether it makes sense or not, but so maybe that's what life is all about. You know, we're play fighting, except in our case it's real. So we have to do all the wars and the killing and the, you know, the terror and the pain and suffering and everything. Like, maybe it's just in the script and we have to do it. And, you know, when it comes down to it, we really didn't mean it, right? That's what Timothy Leary, one of my idols. You know, if you don't like Timothy Leary, bite me. But he was a great man, and if we have a future, in my opinion, he'll be regarded as. I need some yellow ochre. Why did I forget that? There's a snail on my paint now. Golly, nothing sacred. Pretty soon the snail's going to start commenting on my work. Like the dogs do. They come in here and pee on things. No respect. So, anyway, I don't know where I was talking. I was backing up the car. That's right, I was backing up the car to try to remember where I was. That was a long time ago. And you'll see how this house has gone from, you know, I thought maybe lime green, but no. I know better than my crazy mind to say lime green. That's what you're going to do, lime green. But no. It's not lime green. It's whatever it is. Because that's too monotone. Anyway, maybe Timothy Leary, right? So he was in. The judge who sentenced him for having a half a joint of marijuana in his car, said he's the most dangerous man alive, and he got something like a life sentence. So this guy was actually head of the psychology department at Harvard, and also at Mass General, top of his profession. I mean that absolute top of his profession. He's in Folsom, maximum security, and he escapes and makes his way to Europe, and then Northern Africa, and then Afghanistan, where he's kidnapped by Howard Hunt of Nixon fame and brought back to this country and imprisoned again. And anyway, he's always smiling in the photos of those era. Always, always, always smiling. And he said, everybody's got their role to play. Everybody has a role to play in this cosmic drama. I mean, that puts it into perspective, right? This cosmic drama that we're all taking part of. You know, whether it's somebody really horrible or someone like us who's really, really good, right? It's just a cosmic drama that we're playing our part in. Like Maxie and Blackie and Charlie, you know, just like tearing each other's limbs off. You know, it's like, if I pet Charlie, Blackie just not going to have any of it, right? And he starts getting in his way, and then Maxie sees that and starts chewing like violently on Blackie's leg. Blackie doesn't care. And then Chica, who's like the only girl in the bunch, and she's like this big, and she wants to get petted too, and I pet her, and somebody gets in the way, and she just like attacks them. She goes for the throat, but it's all in great loving fun. So I know it's hard to call the war in Afghanistan something that's done in great loving fun, but maybe you get what I'm going at here. You know, where's the yellow ochre? I need some more blue. A different kind of blue. You know, that's a very nice album. One of the best ever. It's not like I'm easily distracted or anything. You know that. So this cosmic drama. So I said yesterday, in a post yesterday, that I thought complaining about, oh, that turns gray really fast. That's a red tone. Red tone blue. So when you mix it with yellow, it doesn't go to green, it goes to... But that's what we got, right? Because that's the way it works in the world sometimes. Things turn out a little bit gray. So I said, you know, I thought, so if we're all players on the stage, as Willie Shakespeare said, and to complain about the script, to complain that it's like, I don't want to be in this drama, is unprofessional. It's unprofessional to say, you know, I want to be in a different kind of movie. One that's more fun and not so much trouble. I don't have to suffer so much. And I'm, you know, believe me, the suffering is as real as it can be, right? And yet, you know, I don't know whether you can see what I'm doing here on the palette, but it is horrible. I'm going to start over with a new brush. That's kind of like death, right? So that particular mix of colors, done. Over the hill, down, pull the plug. I'm completely lost here. God, what is going on? I need some real yellow. Let's see that. Each one of these things has a little bit of styrofoam on it I have to pull off. One thing I love about painting is getting the colors on my hands. I touched my face, you saw me do it. But I'm on this side of the wall. So the CDC, bless their little hearts, have said that's okay. I mean, have we got a bunch of knuckleheads running things, or what? It is like, wow. It's like Fireside Theater was a documentary podcast or something. Wow. But, you know, in a certain very, very dark sense, and this will be true until I actually run out of coffee myself, and then I won't be able to, you know, be so sanguine about things, and, you know, like, because I'll be freaking out too, right? I'm admitting it. And I think, you know, we should be prepared for that. You know, it's like, it's easy enough to say, there, see it, that's the first sign. It's It's easy enough to say, it's all gratitude and light until we run out of coffee, right? I wouldn't even go to toilet paper. That's just beyond parody. I have no idea. The colors are just completely out of control. I suppose, a real wall here in this town. In terms of colors. Have you stuck with me? If you've stuck with me all the way through this, just to see the kind of horror that's happening on this canvas, I don't know. I mean, the perspective is completely messed up. I mean, that is really nasty. Of course, that if things are at the height of the viewer, that they're going to be kind of horizontal, so it's going to be somewhere in there, right? I think the viewer here is standing in the back of a pickup truck. That's the only explanation. We've got some trouble with the color. There's trouble on the palette, and that begins with P, which rhymes with T, which stands for trouble. The aesthetic here is like, we have a can of paint. Let's put it on the wall. So this is, things have gotten horribly out of control here, just like in the real world. That's why this painting could be so instructive. Although no one is actually going to be harmed, just like in the Three Stooges. Wouldn't it be funny if the Three Stooges was real? No, it wouldn't. I don't think. They always said, don't actually try this at home, kids. And even as a kid, I was wondering, who would try that at home? I guess there were such people. So they wouldn't do this. They wouldn't borrow a can of this red paint from their neighbors and paint the inside of the wall with that, would they? I don't know. People would do anything, I guess. That's what Houston said in Chinatown. He was the old, evil, wise man. Evil, evil, evil. And he said, one thing I've learned is that people will do anything. Let's hope that that's not the case. That there are limits. There are limits to what people will do, and they'll say, no, beyond that I will not go. The streets here are mostly cobblestone. And if you're just going to walk around and appreciate the flowers in the trees or the moon rising or something like that, you're going to fall on your ass. You're going to break your head. You have to actually pay attention to the Earth's surface as you walk about here. I guess that's some kind of metaphor. I'm not good at those. Actually, I might be, but I'm not aware of it. Sometimes I do puns, but I'm unaware of it until several years later. That was horrible. Almost everything. Whenever you hear me say everything, please put an asterisk next to that. Almost everything worthwhile is unconscious. The scientists have done studies on this, believe me. And it's black. Yeah, our conscious, the stream of consciousness, and the thoughts that are just running through our heads, and what we think of as intention. I'm going to do this, or I did this because of that. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Almost everything is done unconsciously, and about a half a second later, we're writing the narrative as to why we're doing something. It's the most humiliating thing in the world for a human, and that's why it's not a very popular or well-known idea. Even if you know it, part of your brain goes, no, that's not true. So, I'm making a mess here, right? All right, I've lost the lost the other film, so I think we're done here. I think we're done here. There we go. So, you know, it is what it is, just like you and I are. And it's going to continue to do the best job of existing that it possibly can, just like that's what we ought to do. You know, and you know, of course we're going to be terrified and depressed and scared. Like looking at the scenes from the Chicago airport, people waiting for 7 hours. I mean, can you imagine how horrifying and enraging that all is? I can't. I'm glad I'm not there, because it would be hard for me to maintain. It's like, you know, everything is wonderful, kind of a deal that I often come off with. No, I wouldn't there. But just try to, the thing is, I touched my face again. The thing is just to be where you are, to feel what you're feeling, whether it's terror or whatever, right? All right, take care. Kindness is always possible. And include yourself in that. Like, you know, that's the thing. What I'm trying to get at, another way of saying what I'm saying is don't judge yourself for the emotions that come up. Whether it's disgust or fear or terror, whatever, because it's going to happen. It's a pandemic. All right, take care. Bye. Doug Truth, out.